What's the dumbest thing an ex ever did to win you back? 4 years ago, I was in a relationship with a stunning brunette named Jenna. She was the kind of girl who turned heads wherever she went, and I felt like the luckiest guy in the world to be with her. When we first started dating, everything seemed perfect. She was funny, smart, and we shared a lot of interests. It didn't take long for me to fall head over heels in love with her. In the beginning, our relationship was like a dream. We spent every moment we could together, going on adventures, trying out new restaurants, and just enjoying each other's company. I remember thinking that I had found the one, the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. But as time went on, I began to notice some things about Jenna that didn't sit well with me. Jenna had this habit of always asking for money. At first it was small things, a few dollars for coffee here, a bit for a movie ticket there. I didn't mind because I loved her and wanted to make her happy. But then her requests started getting bigger and more frequent. She asked me to cover her brother's school fees, her haircuts, her nail appointments, and even her shopping sprees. She'd always have a reason why she needed the money and how important it was. I tried to make her understand that I wasn't made of money. I had a decent job, but I wasn't rolling in cash. I told her I couldn't afford to keep giving her money for everything. But every time I brought it up, she would get upset. She would say things like, "I can get a better person than you. It is my favor on you that I am in a relationship with you. Can't you appreciate it and compensate me a little?" Hearing that from someone you love cuts deep. I was hurt, but I couldn't bring myself to get angry with her. I kept telling myself that maybe she was just going through a tough time and that things would get better. So, I continued to lend her money, even though it was draining my savings and putting a strain on my finances. There was one incident that stands out vividly in my mind. It was a Sunday afternoon, and we were sitting in a cafe. Jenna had just come back from a shopping trip and was showing me all the things she had bought: clothes, shoes, makeup. She looked so happy and excited, and I didn't want to ruin her mood. But then she turned to me and said, "Babe, can you transfer me $200? I went a little overboard and my card got declined." I hesitated for a moment and she noticed. Her expression changed from excitement to annoyance. "Are you seriously going to make me beg for it?" she snapped. I sighed and pulled out my phone to make the transfer. As I was doing it, I felt a knot forming in my stomach. This wasn't right. I shouldn't be treated like an ATM. But I loved her, and I didn't want to lose her. So I kept quiet and sent her the money. Looking back, I realized how foolish I was. I let her walk all over me because I was afraid of losing her. I was so blinded by my love for her that I ignored all the red flags. One night, we had a big argument about it. I had just gotten home from work, exhausted, and Jenna was waiting for me. She had a list of things she needed money for: a new phone, a gym membership, and some clothes. I told her I couldn't afford it, that I had bills to pay and responsibilities to take care of. She blew up at me, accusing me of being selfish and not caring about her. That was the breaking point for me. I felt a surge of anger and frustration. I loved her, but I couldn't keep living like this. I told her that if she felt that way, maybe she should find someone better. She stormed out of my apartment, and that was the last time I saw her. After Jenna and I broke up, I tried to pick up the pieces of my life and move on. I threw myself into work, spent more time with friends, and started exploring new hobbies to keep my mind occupied. It wasn't easy, but I was determined to get over her. Then, about a month after the breakup, I heard some news that hit me like a ton of bricks. A mutual friend told me that Jenna had been cheating on me while we were together. Apparently, she had been seeing someone else behind my back for months. I couldn't believe it. After everything I had done for her, all the money I had spent, and the emotional toll it had taken on me, she had been betraying me the whole time. Furious, I decided to confront her. I called her up and demanded to meet. We agreed to meet at a cafe, and as I sat there waiting, my mind was racing. When she finally showed up, I could barely contain my anger. I asked her how she could do that to me, how she could cheat on me when I had given her everything I had. She just shrugged nonchalantly and said, "Well, since you couldn't pay for everything I wanted, of course, I had to look for someone else. What did you expect?" Her response left me speechless. There was no remorse, no guilt, just cold indifference. Heartbroken, I left the cafe without another word. I couldn't believe I had wasted so much time and energy on someone who didn't care about me at all. For a while, I was in a dark place. I felt betrayed and used, and I didn't know if I could ever trust someone again. But then, about 2 months later, I met Rachel. She was a brown-haired girl with a warm smile and a kind heart. We met at a friend's party, and we hit it off immediately. There was something about her that made me feel at ease, and for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. Rachel and I started spending more time together, getting to know each other better. She was the complete opposite of Jenna, thoughtful, considerate, and genuinely caring. She never asked for anything, and she appreciated the little things I did for her. It wasn't long before I realized I had fallen for her, and I decided to take a chance. I proposed to her, and to my delight, she said yes. Life was good. I was happy with Rachel, and I felt like I had finally put the past behind me. But then, out of nowhere, Jenna reappeared. She sent me a message asking if we could meet up. I declined and told her that I was already in a relationship and had moved on. But Jenna didn't take no for an answer. She repeatedly begged me to meet her, promising that she had changed and that things would be different this time. I blocked her on all of my social media accounts, hoping that would be the end of it. Then one day, I received a call from her. She sounded distressed and said she was very depressed and about to unalive herself because of her father's death. I was stunned. Despite everything, I didn't want anything bad to happen to her. So I hurriedly went to her apartment. When I got there, the door was open. I walked in, calling her name, and suddenly she jumped on me and kissed my cheek. "I knew you still cared about me," she said with a triumphant smile. I was stunned and quickly pushed her away. She looked perfectly fine, healthy even. It hit me that she had lied to get me there. Disgusted, I shouted at her, calling her crazy. I berated her for going too far and told her that I wanted nothing to do with her ever again. Then I stormed out of her apartment, furious and shaken. As I drove home, I felt a mix of anger and relief. Anger at Jenna for her manipulative tactics and relief that I had seen through her lies. I was grateful to have Rachel in my life, someone who truly cared about me. After that disaster at Jenna's apartment, I drove home feeling a mix of anger and disgust. When I got home, I scrubbed my face in the bathroom, trying to wash away the feeling of Jenna's kiss. Just as I was drying off, I heard the doorbell ring. I opened the door and saw Rachel standing there, tears streaming down her face. "How could you cheat on me?" she cried, her voice breaking. "I loved you so much. How could you do this to me?" I was completely bewildered. "Rachel, what are you talking about? I didn't cheat on you." She pulled out her phone and shoved it in my face. There were pictures of Jenna kissing me, taken from an angle that made it look like I was kissing her back. I felt my stomach drop. I had no idea how Jenna had managed to take those pictures, but they were damning. "Rachel, I swear I didn't cheat on you," I said, panic rising in my voice. "Jenna tricked me. She called me saying she was going to kill herself because her father died. I went over to make sure she was okay, and she jumped on me. I had no idea she took these pictures." Rachel looked at me, her eyes filled with hurt and uncertainty. I could see she wanted to believe me, but the evidence was right there. I pulled out my phone and showed her the message Jenna had sent me, explaining the whole situation. She read through the messages, and I could see her starting to calm down. "I believe you," she finally said, her voice still shaky. "But you have to promise me you won't ever meet Jenna again. If you do, I don't think I can stay with you." "I promise," I said without hesitation. "I want nothing to do with her. She's done enough damage already." Rachel nodded, wiping her tears. "Okay, let's put this behind us. But if she contacts you again, you need to tell me right away." "I will," I assured her. "I promise." As Rachel left to go back to her apartment, I felt a surge of anger towards Jenna. She had gone too far this time, and I needed to put an end to her games once and for all. I knew the only person who could possibly control Jenna was her mother, a strict and no-nonsense woman whom Jenna feared the most. So I decided to call her. I explained everything to Jenna's mother, from the constant demands for money to the cheating, and finally, the recent incident. She listened quietly, and I could hear the disapproval in her voice when she finally spoke. "I'm sorry you've had to go through this," she said. "I had no idea Jenna was behaving this way. I promise you she will never interfere in your life again." True to her word, from that day on, Jenna vanished from my life. I never received another message or call from her. I later heard through mutual friends that her mother had come down hard on her, and Jenna was forced to move back home and straighten out her life. Not that I cared. I was just glad she was out of mine. Rachel and I grew even closer after that ordeal. A few months later, we got married in a small ceremony surrounded by close friends and family. It was the happiest day of my life. Now, Rachel and I are expecting our first child. We're excited and a little nervous, but mostly just happy.